Hey, welcome to Classic Performance. It is absolutely a beautiful day today, and we are back with the 1969 MGB GT, and we're getting ready to dive in and do some work on this car to get it back on the road safely, get it comfortable, and even take it on a road trip when we get all done. So let me show you what we're working on today. Okay, so we'll start from front to back, and of course, if you were following us along in this series, this Barn Find MGB, the interior is pretty roached, so we've got new seat covers for it right here. We're going to put those on. We got the bottoms, we got the backs. Over in that box over there, we've got new door panels for it. And of course, if you remember, we ran this thing off of a plastic jug and now have a boat gas tank in it. So we got a new gas tank right here for it. And of course, with the gas tank, we've got the new fuel level sender, which of course is a float that just goes up and down to show the fuel level, the gaskets and everything that goes with that. And of course, obviously the wheels and tires are off the car. They're right here. So we're going to take these down to the shop, to the tire shop right now, and get new tires put on here, which we've ordered. They're in, and some new tubes. We had to put 2 new tubes in it just to get it holding air. I've got 2 other new tubes, so that'll give us all 4 new tubes. Our door panels are in here, and if you remember the back of the car, it was pretty roached as well. This right here is all skinned with Bondo on this back hatch. There's our boat gas tank in there covered with a towel. So I've got a new, not new, but a junkyard find, a rear hatch lid that's in great shape and straight. So we're going to put get this painted and put that on the back. So that right there is our task for the day and the days ahead and over this weekend. So we're going to get started, take our tires down to the tire shop, get them put on, and then we'll be back and probably start with our gas tank and get things running in good condition. So we got our tires here at the tire store. We take the air out of them, and you know the reason these wire wheels have to have tubes is because the way the spokes go through the rim, they don't seal air. So the tube is important to keep that sealed. So you can't have tubeless wires, at least you can't from the type of wires that this car has. So we'll be back in a minute to pick these up. Okay, since we got our tires down at the tire shop, it's a good time to change the oil and filter. So I've got this Valvoline VR1 high zinc oil, and you want high zinc because this has a flat tappet cam, not a roller cam. So I like using that 2050 right there and use it in everything old with a roller cam. And this engine right here has a canister oil filter. It's inside this canister. So what I've got is the from Moss Motors, the classic gold filter. And this is what it looks like right here. So it goes in that canister, and wind is kind of blowing things away here, but I got a new plate, a new pressure spring, some O-ring gaskets, and you always want to use a new copper washer for the plug. And the reason it's easy to do this now is that right here is the oil plug. So we'll get that drained. We'll put our Valvoline oil in here and get her buttoned up, and that'll be one more thing complete. All right, while we've got our oil draining there, I'm going to pull this off and show you the canister oil filter. If it'll, here it comes. Let's see, we got here, the oil is draining below. So there's some hoodooing going on here. And this is our canister. It looks a little bit shorter than the canister we have, so we'll compare it. And nope, it is the same. So there we go. We'll take this out, throw it in our oil pan. We'll reassemble the canister and the spring and that sort of thing right there, and put it all back together. Okay, we've got our new base gasket in here in that little groove. It's kind of hard to see, but you got to make sure that thing's all the way in there. And sometimes you can use a little bit of grease to hold it in place so it doesn't pop out. Our new filter in the canister right here. We've already got our bypass spring. As you can see, I can press against that spring. Our bypass spring is in there. So I'm going to put this whole thing in here and try to get it to seat exactly on the gasket right there. So I'm going to get that right on that gasket right there. All right, got it snugged up. Give it just a little bit of a turn, make sure that gasket is seated, and then I'll snug it up with a wrench. All right, so we fired it off, and no leaks, amazingly enough. Everything was great. No leaks. No leaks on our canister, because we were sure to get that gasket sealed in there. And we'll shut her off and check the oil and call that job done. All right, we got our new tires picked up, and they look pretty sharp. It's a Road 1. This is a very inexpensive tire, but it does do the job. So pretty good looking tread pattern, nice looking sidewalls on them. So let's get those on the car, and maybe we'll take it for a ride, just see if the ride improves. All right, so we got our tires on. We got the car back here in the shop. We're gonna try to get the gas tank in, and the gas tank bolts are right around the perimeter here. And as you can see, we've got 4 on the left side, 3 on the right, and then 2 in the back. And they've got encapsulated nuts on the bottom, so the nuts won't spin. So our hope is we could use an impact to get these out from the top, and without spinning the nuts, because the nuts in the back, you can't get to them because of the rear valence. So they're kind of blind. So I'm going to squirt them down with WD-40, get this tire out of the back of it here, the jack equipment, and get going on these bolts. All right, we got our tire out, we've got our jack out, and we've got these bolts soaked down. So we got 2 bolt heads here. This one up front is sheared off. This one over here, sheared off. We got a bolt here, sheared off, and come around to the back. We got a bolt right here, and we got a bolt right here. So as with any old car, somebody is always in here before you and doing something, especially with electrical. So it might be that we just have to shear all the top of these bolts off and then just drop the tank, put all new hardware in it. That's probably the best thing to do. Looking at the underside, I've got my wiring off here, which is for the fuel sender, which is right here. You can see that. And then we're taking off this fitting for the fuel line. And I've got great light under here too. And I'll show you what that is. You know, there's all kinds of solutions for work lights and shop lights and things like that for under a car. This is just an inexpensive 4-foot LED tube with a cord that goes into a plug right over there. And I can slide this around underneath the car, and it gives me a great light working underneath. So we'll give a couple of these bolts a shot with the impact and see if we have any luck here. Yeah, every single one of these is a spinner, so they're just spinning, and I'm sure the nut on the bottom side is spinning too. So we're just gonna have to cut the heads off and drop them through. The good thing about them spinning though is that we've spun them through these holes, so the bolt itself, once the head is taken off, should slip through there. So we got to go to the side grinder and a little more extreme measure to get these off. So there's one bolt head off right there, and there's a piece of the washer which is extremely hot. So that is ready to drop through right there. I'll give you a little close-up on it. So as you can see, the washers come off, the nuts come off. That's ready to drop right through. So I got a couple more to do. So let's knock those out, and that whole tank should hit the ground once we remove this rubber coupler here to the filler. All right, so from the underside, the trunk pan looks pretty good. Even got some original paint on it. And what I thought were these sheared off bolt heads are actually studs. So you got one here, and one on the other side. So you got 4 studs. And fortunately, with the impact, these nuts came right off. The whole tank just dropped right out. Piece of cake. Okay, here you are. New tank, old tank. Our foam gasket, which is good shape. Still got that transferred on there. Our rubber straps, put a little tape on so they don't move. We'll take the fuel sender out of here, transfer that over because I got the wrong one shipped to me. Somehow it's not for a B, it looks like it's for an A. So for right now, we'll put the old sender in just so we can plug the hole. Got new gaskets and everything for that. So be a matter of putting it right in there. I'll get some new hardware for it, and we'll have it back in a jiffy. Okay, so the sender I got right here, the new sender is like an MGA style sender that bolts in. The sender that came out has this twist lock and gasket, and it just twist locks right here into this hole. So I'm going to get crucified for doing this, but I'm going to put the old sender back in. I do have a new gasket and a new locking ring. We'll put that back in. Real easy to change. You just snap that ring out, pull it out, put it back in. So we'll get a new one in about a week, but this will at least get me going here and plug this hole right here. Okay, our sender is in, and the beautiful thing is too, once we go to change the sender, after I get my new one, we do have this nice plug right here. So this will allow me to drain everything that's in the tank out quickly, so we can change that sender when it comes in. So anyway, she's ready to go up. All right, so there you have it. New fuel tank is in. Just went up there easy as can be. I just kind of lifted it with my hand, held it with my knee, and then put the bolts on the studs that were sticking out the bottom. We've got new hardware here. All the hardware that went in from the top is new. So we did that. Got our filler neck connected, and that's in there. New hardware in the back too. And like I said, these, which I thought were sheared off, are actually kind of like a rivet with a studs. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of those, and they all came off. The nuts went right back on the bottom. So we're ready to go. We're going to fill her with fuel, check for leaks, and I think we'll call the tank replacement on the MGB done. So it has been a spectacular day and a successful day of work on the 1969 MGB GT. She's running great, got the gas tank in, no leaks on the first try, which is fantastic. We got our tubes in, our new tires on, took it on a short road trip, not a road trip, but just a trip around the neighborhood, and drives beautifully, super smooth. And if you remember from previous episodes, the shake in the wheel from those old tires, they were absolutely shot. So we're going to finish up here today with the mechanicals and call it a successful day. And in our next episode, we are going to look into the things that make the car more presentable and pretty and more comfortable on the inside. The door panels, the seats, we've got the hatch lid. We're going to get that painted and put on. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this car on a road trip. Yes, we are. We're going to take it on a long road trip. We're going to travel in this car. We're going to leave the patina just as it is on the paint. We're not going to touch that, but we get the interior done. We get the mechanicals done. And one thing we have to do too still is change the fluid, the lubricant in the transmission in the rear end. So if you have comments or any ideas of what is preferred for the transmission in the rear end on these MGB GTs, this is not an overdrive transmission, just a standard 4-speed transmission. Let me know. I would love to know what lubricant I should use in the transmission rear end. So that's going to do it for today, the MGB GT, and we're going to be back at you with more to come on this car. So for now, go MGB GT.